Welcome to the Nevis newscast for Friday, December 8th, 2023. I'm Donis Wilkinson Keynes. The Nevis Appropriation 2024 Bill 2023 was passed in the Nevis Island Assembly on Thursday, December 7th. The legislation appropriates a certain sums of money for the use of the public service of the island of Nevis for the financial year commencing on January 1st, 2024 and ending on December 31st, 2024. The budget for the upcoming fiscal year is set at $282.7 million. Mover of the bill, Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Mark Brantley, outlined the Nevis Island Administration's major allocations in expenditure.
The Office of the Premier has allocated funding in the amount of $12.01 million, representing 4% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated to support our quest for energy sustainability. The Ministry of Finance is allocated funding in the amount of $99.86 million, representing 35% of the total budget. Included in this amount of funds allocated to meet our debt servicing obligations and to fund our newly implemented non-established workers' retirement scheme. The Ministry of Communication and Works is allocated funding in the amount of $41.1 million, representing 15% of the total budget. Included in this amount of funds allocated for our infrastructure development program, namely the upgrading of our road network, maintaining of government buildings, and other structures along with provisions for upgrading our water services. The Ministry of Agriculture is allocated funding in the amount of $19.4 million, representing 7% of the total budget. Included in this amount of funds allocated for our food sustainability and security, upgrading of our processing facilities, and funding of activities for Culture Armor 50 celebrations.
He also outlined allocations for the Ministry of Health, Gender Affairs and Social Empowerment, the Ministry of Tourism, as well as the Ministry of Education, Library Services, Information Technology, Youth and Sports.
The Ministry of Health, Gender Affairs and Social Empowerment is allocated funding in the amount of $48.3 million, representing 17% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated for providing improvements in the quality and delivery of healthcare, recruitment of medical professionals, supplies and equipment, delivery of our social protection agenda, and funding the final phase of construction work under the Alexandra Hospital Expansion Program. The Ministry of Tourism is allocated funding in the amount of $11 million, representing 4% of the total budget. Included in this amount of funds allocated for developing and maintaining our historical sites and other tourist attractions and funding for our quest to achieve sustainability in our tourism offerings. The Ministry of Education, Library Services, Information Technology, Youth and Sports is allocated funding in the amount of $45.9 million, representing 16% of the total budget. Included in this amount are funds allocated for the delivery of quality education to our people, funding our TVET program, funding our program for our youths, along with upgrading and general maintenance and improvement of our sporting and education facilities.
The NIA's 2024 budget address was delivered with the theme, Investing for Growth, Building the Framework to Support a Resilient and Sustainable Economy. Meantime, according to the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, notice has been given for a sitting of the National Assembly to be held at the National Assembly Chambers Government Headquarters, Bastille, St. Kitts, at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. During this session, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, will present the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis's financial statement and budgetary proposals for the 2024 fiscal year. The debate on the budget will continue from Thursday, December 14th, 2023. The non-profit agricultural organization Helen's Daughters, in collaboration with the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School, EPPS, has embarked on a US $15,000 project, the aim of which is to foster the students' love for nature, sustainability, and learning. McLevin Trust, the project manager, says the initiative includes the gift of a greenhouse to the school.
Now, the project was forecast to and estimated at $15,000. And it was a complete turnkey project. The greenhouse is intended to support the school kitchen, and I'm envisioning a lot of produce coming from this project so that whatever the kitchen cannot use, we will then be able to be in a position to offer for sale to other schools and people in the community, and by and large the general public. So this, to me, would be a revenue generator for EPPS. And I see that Mr. Lee and his staff has shown a great and a keen interest in the shade house. So I really want this shade house to be an example for all the other schools to be wanting to follow.
The official launch of the project on November 28th followed the groundbreaking ceremony on August 11th for the construction of the greenhouse. Trust thanked Elmos Grant of Grants Construction, the Public Works Department, and the Nevis Water Department for their assistance.
Part of the plumbing meant installing a 1,000-gallon tank, and that 1,000-gallon tank would be used to harvest water from the roof of the EPPS school. Then we store the water there and we channel the water down to the greenhouse. As we would be well aware, the rainwater is more friendly for the plants. So the rainwater is ideal, and that is the reason why we have the 1,000 water gallon tank.
The ceremony included the planting of the first seedlings in the greenhouse. Latoya Duncan, coordinator of Helen's Daughters in St. Kitts and Nevis, noted that the organization looks forward to the positive outcomes of the project.
Shade structures provide comfortable outdoor learning spaces. So a shade house is not only for growing produce for the schools, but it also can be used for education purposes. They can help also regulate temperature and reduce the heat and glare, making it more comfortable for students and staff to spend time outside. The more time spent in this environment will definitely help to improve the quality of education in the students and at large the school. So I really want to say kudos to Helen's Daughters as well as to the staff here for agreeing to take on this project, and for Mr. Strass for being the guiding individual over it overall. So on behalf of Helen's Daughters, I would just like to officially say to the school, welcome. You are now basically adopted by Helen's Daughters.
As explained by Duncan, Helen's Daughters uses agriculture as an entry point to overall development and empowerment. Together with Duncan, School Principal Jessica Liebert, and EPPS students, Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, performed the ceremonial ribbon cutting to officially open the greenhouse. He commended the St. Lucia-based organization for its partnership with Nevis's Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School and pledged the ministry's commitment to the success of the project. Still to come, new opportunities for savings with discounted VAT rate days. The details after this break.
As a responsible taxpayer, you help to finance free health care at all health centers on Nevis. Thank you for putting country above self. This message was brought to you by the Inland Revenue Department, Nevis. Be a responsible citizen.
Welcome back. Friday, December 15th and Saturday, December 16th will be discounted value-added tax VAT rate days in St. Kitts and Nevis. This will allow approved VAT-registered businesses to provide their customers with a reduced VAT rate of 5% on eligible goods. This offer is exclusively applicable to tangible items that can be immediately issued or delivered during the discounted VAT rate days. VAT will be exempt on the first $50,000 of vehicle costs, except in cases where a duty-free concession applies. 17% VAT will be applicable on the amount in excess of $50,000. Items including guns, ammunition, cigarettes, and alcoholic beverages are excluded from the promotion. Wine, brandy, vodka, whiskey, gin, rum, liquors, beer, Guinness, Royal Stout, Carib, and Smirnoff Ice will not be eligible for the reduced VAT rate. Meantime, businesses interested in participating in the discounted VAT rate days can access the application form via the Inland Revenue Department's website, sknird.com, or visit the department's offices in Bastia or Charlestown. The application form should be returned by 4 p.m. on Monday, December 11th, 2023. Applications can also be submitted via email to inlandrevenue@ird.gov.kn. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here on the Department of Information, thank you for viewing.